Hello everybody, I hope you are all having a wonderful Thursday, and I wanted to come on and give you a little book haul from a subscription that we get at my library. For those that don't know me and are new to my channel, hello, welcome. My name is Renee and I am a librarian's assistant at a middle school library. And we have a monthly subscription to the company Junior Library Guild. And every month we get a selection of books, and in the subscription you can sign up for different types of genres or books that you want to get, different age levels, and you can change it every year if you're not happy with the selections you get. You can also go on there before they send you your book box. You can also go on there and swap out books. If you know you already have a book that is on your list of books that you are going to be getting, you can change that. So it's a really cool subscription, and I thought I would record an unboxing. I've done it before, so let's do it again. Here we go. So the first book in our book box that I wanted to talk about is called The Moon Without Stars by Chanel Miller. So this is what the book cover looks like. So it says, I'm going to be reading from my screen so I can see it. It says, at the beginning of 7th grade, Luna knows who she is, an observant, quiet girl who loves writing and making zines with her best friend, Scott. But when one of their zines takes off, Luna is somehow swept up into the popular group and learns just how much of herself she's going to have to compromise to stay there. Will she give up her writing? Her best friend? What about her own beliefs about who she is and what she stands for? This is a great book for middle school students to read that feel they aren't in the popular group and they would love to be in the popular group, and then something happens and then they realize, well, maybe the popular group just really isn't for me. So this book is called The Moon Without Stars by Chanel Miller. Before I talk about my second book in the book box, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about the lighting. I have tried to record this multiple times today, and there was just too much traffic in the library, and I felt weird talking to my camera with students in the room, and feel like I shouldn't be talking to my camera with students in the room. So I waited, and now it's after school and it's parent-teacher conferences, so I turned off the overhead lights. Like behind you is a big cement pole, and behind that is the entire library, and I just turned the lights off so that people wouldn't try to come in here if they thought the library was open to talk to while they're waiting for teachers. So the second book I want to talk to you about is called The Last Ember, and it is by Lily Berlin Todd, and it is book 1 in a series. So this is what it looks like. It is a fantasy book. The Moon Without Stars is a realistic fiction. So this book, the fantasy book, The Last Ember, it says, a private school student and an orphaned errand boy embark on a gripping adventure in Dodd's confident and fiercely thought-provoking debut. 12-year-old science-obsessed Eva's heretofore sheltered life is thrown into chaos after she's unknowingly given a pilfered egg from a presumed extinct dragon-like race of creatures called Aramanders, attracting the attention of Aeon Parnassus, simple man of pure evil who wants to unhatch Aramanders for destructive militaristic purposes, Eva hides the egg and decides to consult a scientist. Orphaned 13-year-old Dusty, a seasoned thief who attempts to swipe the egg from Eva's boarding school dorm room, only to end up absconding with both egg and girl. The unwilling duo bonds over their ill-gotten ovum and races to uncover its secret before it falls into malevolent hands. Utilizing a dry-humored, omniscient narrator, Dodd admirably balances expert world building with a rip-roaring plot and complicated character interactions that crackle with witty buoyancy. So this book, as I've read the synopsis, I struggle with some of the wording. I worry about my middle school students trying to read this. Great way to learn new words. Probably look them up. I should have before I read this to see how they're pronounced, but it does sound really good. It's called The Last Ember, and it is a series, and it's by Lily Berlin Dodd. The third book in our unboxing is a graphic novel, and I love that they are adapting some of these very popular series into graphic novels. So this is adapted by Georgia Ball. This is I Survived the California Wildfires 2018. And the original novels are by Lauren Tarshis, and I really enjoy them. So this book is going to follow our main character, Josh. It says, still reeling from the life-changing challenges that propelled him and his mother across the country, Josh finds solace in the California wilderness and in the newfound friendship with his cousin, Holly. But on a trip into the nearby forest, Josh and Holly suddenly find themselves in the middle of a frightening, powerful firestorm, one which threatens to burn down everything in its path. Josh needs to confront the family issues burning him up inside, but first, he'll have to survive the flames roaring all around him. I watched some documentaries on this particular wildfire, and the people that were stuck in buses in the middle of it, and children's, makes me want to cry. And I hope that when children read these stories, they realize that it's based off of true events and how horrific some of this must have been for people, and to just be able to be empathetic and realize that when they're having a bad day at school or whatnot, that there are worse things that could be going on. And I know not every kid can say that because they truly do have a bad out of school life. But really, it just hits me how well Lauren Tarshis takes these true stories and brings it to elementary/middle grade level. And I love that. I like them. So again, this is I Survived the California Wildfires of 2018, adapted by Georgia Ball. The fourth book we have is another graphic novel, and it is called Sidekicks, Thick as Thieves. This is book 2 in a series. Unfortunately, sometimes with the Junior Library Guild, and if I don't catch it, we'll end up with book 2, 3 in a series, and then we don't have the ones before. So I went on right away and put down in a wish list that we need book 1 of Sidekicks. So this book is by Dan Santat, and it says, Sorry, a coworker came in to use the printer in the library. So anyways, okay, this book, it says, Captain Amazing has retired and he's on vacation. But while he's away, there's trouble at home. A massive data breach disrupts the society of superheroes, and a flash drive containing sensitive information about Captain Amazing and other heroes winds up in reckless hands. Meanwhile, an unannounced visitor named Whipley arrives at the captain's house and his pet sidekicks, Manny, Roscoe, and Fluffy, are skeptical of the stranger's intentions. The only sidekick excited by the visit is Shifty. Could Whipley be Shifty's loving, long-lost brother, as he claims? So this series is called Sidekicks, and this one is called Thick as Thieves. Look at those characters. That's, oh my gosh. SOS, SOS. So yes, Sick as Thieves, psh, Renee. Thick as Thieves by Dan Santat. Okay, book 5 is a historical fiction that is written in verse, and it is called A Year Without Home by V.T. Bidania. I just love that cover. The purples, the blues. Okay. For 11-year-old Gao Sheng, home is the lush, humid jungles and highlands of Laos. Home is where she can roll down the grassy hill with her younger siblings after her chores, walk to school, and pick ripe peaches from her family's trees. But home becomes impossible to hold on to when the communist government takes over after U.S. troops pull out of the Vietnam War. The communists will be searching for any American allies like Gao Sheng's father, a Hmong captain in the Lao army who fought alongside the Americans against the Vietnamese. If he's caught, he will be killed. As the adults frantically make plans, contacting family, preparing a route, and bundling up their silver and gold, Gao Sheng wonders if she will ever return to her beloved Laos and what's to become of her family now. Gao Sheng only knows that a good daughter doesn't ask questions or complain. A good daughter doesn't let her family down, even though sometimes she wishes she could just be a kid rolling down a grassy hill again. On foot, by taxi, and finally in a canoe, Gao Sheng and her family make haste from the mountains to the capital and across the rushing Mekong River to finally arrive at an overcrowded refugee camp in Thailand. As a year passes at the camp, Gao Sheng discovers how to rebuild home no matter where she is and finally find her voice. That sounds really good. So the book is a historical fiction called A Year Without Home by V.T. Bidania. And I'm sorry if I pronounce words. Words and myself do not get along. Book 6 in our unboxing is called The Wish Ring Cipher by Alexandra Ott. This is a mystery book, and we are following the main character, Emma Avery. The publisher says, Emma Avery has always loved solving puzzles and codes, and now that she's processing a recent autism diagnosis and facing down 7th grade at a new school, they are even more important to her. Then Emma meets Nate Lynn. He's popular and funny and loves code too. He introduces Emma to the Code Breakers, a group of his friends dedicated to cracking codes that have been discovered in the ruins of a nearby ghost town, which are believed to lead to magical objects. But they're not the only ones on the hunt, of course. People never are when they're hunting for things like that. And when their sinister rivals, close in on an object that grants unlimited wishes, the code breakers must race to beat them to it before they use it for dark magic. The Wish Ring Cipher is a fast-paced adventure brimming with magic and warmth. So, The Wish Ring Cipher by Alexandra Ott. Book 7 is called The Misfits, a Sea Monster Conundrum by Lisa Yee, and it's illustrated by Dan Santat, who had done the Sidekicks book. This book is book 3 in the series, and it is an action-adventure book. Oof! When reports of ghosts arise around an abandoned lighthouse, Olive and her elite team of underdogs are immediately thrust into a brand new case. After all, ghosts don't exist, right? Real or not, the ghosts draw quite a crowd at Olive's beloved reforming art school, or also known as Rash, but not like the rash. Turns out everyone wants a glimpse of the ghosts, including the nearby marine life. Between Rash's ghosts and newfound tourism, rumors soon spiral out of control about a sea monster in the bay, snagging unwanted attention from a corrupt mogul. What is going on at Rash? Does the mythical creature really exist? And can the misfits save it from being captured? The team will have to dive deep to get to the bottom of San Francisco's most legendary mystery. The Misfits, a Sea Monster Conundrum by Lisa Yee, and it's book 3 in the series. Book 8 in our unboxing is a nonfiction book, and it's called Left-Handed, Get a Grip on Handedness by Mariah Birmingham. This book talks about all the things lefties go through, whether it's why are my scissors always right-handed, or when does one become left-handed? Are only humans the only animals on earth that are left-handed? And like how some things that you do when you're left-handed are difficult. And I haven't read it, but hopefully it helps make students that are left-handed feel a little bit more comfortable being left-handed. I know some people feel pretty, what's the word I'm thinking of? Some people feel weird being the only one that writes with their left hand and everybody else in their class is writing with their right. So we'll see. Maybe it'll get checked out. Book 9 in our box is called The 6 Queens of Henry VIII by Honor Cargill. This cover is pretty cool. So it says, "Move over, Henry VIII. It's the Queen's time to shine. Uncover the truth about these bold and brilliant queens with this fresh feminist guide to their lives. We all know Henry VIII had 6 wives, but these ladies are far too interesting to only be known as wives. Did you know Catherine of Aragon rallied her troops in full armor while heavily pregnant? Or that it was Catherine Parr who persuaded the king to return his daughters Mary and Elizabeth, 2 of British history's most famous monarchs, to the line of succession? Get ready to lose your head as the 6 wonderful women behind the man take center stage to overthrow her story. The 6 Queens of Henry VIII. That's pretty cool. And this is a nonfiction book. Here's the illustrations. That's pretty cool. Book 10 is, again, a nonfiction book. It is How to Survive an Apocalypse. The end of the world doesn't have to be the end of the world. And it is by Kobe Coonrat. That's a pretty cool lots of apocalypse stuff. Would you know what to do if there was an AI takeover or an asteroid hit Earth? If not, don't worry. In How to Survive an Apocalypse, preppers and podcast hosts Cam and Kobe have got your back. In this fun and practical illustrated guide, you'll learn prepping 101, from basic first aid and water purification to packing a useful emergency kit, and how to communicate during a tech outage. Then you'll discover how to survive all kinds of disasters, including zombie apocalypse, supernatural takeovers, and alien invasions. Here's some, I like the coloring in the book, the colors. So this is How to Survive an Apocalypse. The end does not have to be the end. Kobe Coonrat. And the last book we have in our book box is called Basketball, the Story of the All-American Game. And it is by Kadir Nelson. That's a really cool cover. And in this book, it goes over like the beginning, so like the very start of basketball, old school basketball, the birth of NBA, playground to the pros, revolutionaries, the winning tradition, ladies that play basketball, and the illustrations are pretty cool. Look at this. Old time Harlem Globetrotters. Are they still doing their thing? The birth of NBA. So pretty cool. This is all for, I know tons of kids will like this. I have tons of ballers and they're gonna love reading this book. So Basketball, the Story of the All-American Game by Kadir Nelson. Well, everybody, that concludes my unboxing for this month. I hope you found a book that you find interesting for yourself, for your students, for maybe you are me or a librarian at a school. Maybe you have kids at home that would read middle grade or upper elementary. Maybe one of them sounds interesting for your kids. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I am trying so hard to be more regular making videos and posting them. I know there are some people out there, you know who you are. I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you, I'm not home yet because I'm making this video. But I'm gonna try really hard to be more regular with recording or talking about things that are going on or things that I'm involved in that involve reading and books. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. If you've watched the whole thing, please leave in the comments a book emoji for me. And until next time, bye guys.